welcome to all of you at the Very Big Sports Center. Normally cricket is played here, but today we are having satsang. We have assembled here to celebrate the transcendental appearance day of Lord Ramachandra. So I would like to start by thanking the management as well as the volunteers and the entire team here for planning and executing this great function. Beautiful arrangements have been made. Everything is very systematic. We had a beautiful, deity Abhishek just now, and also thanks to them for giving me this opportunity to speak something about Lord Ramachandra on this auspicious day for my own purification. So we have very limited time. It's very difficult to speak about Lord Ramachandra in 30 to 45 minutes because that's the time that I have been given. So I'm going to try and go a little bit fast, but I would request that if you can maintain as much silence as possible. I know with children it's difficult, but if children need attention, you can take them outside. So, but try and ensure that we have silence, because on Ram Navami day, hearing about Lord Ramachandra is extremely important for our purification. There must be Ram Katha, and that's exactly what we are going to do. So if children are making noise, if everyone is talking, then you won't be able to hear what I am talking, right? So it's my humble request, and I request the volunteers also there. Ajay Prabhu, if you can just manage the noise levels at every corner, just manage the noise level. One volunteer. Thank you. Now, in the Ramayana, there are so many personalities, right? And we can go on discussing forever. But we will focus on around 7 or 8 personalities very, very briefly on who they are in that Leela, in Ramayana Leela, and what quality do they represent. And in these discussions, there will be certain learnings that will come out from the Ramayana, which we can apply in our personal lives for our own purification. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.8, the first canto, 3rd chapter, 28th verse, says, Ete chamsha kala pumsha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam pradayanti yuge yuge. The Srimad Bhagavatam clearly declares Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Ramachandra is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, how is that possible? So that is explained in our Vedic scriptures. Lord Krishna is said to be Sarva Karana Karanam. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Sarva Karana Karanam means the cause of all causes. So it is said in the scriptures that Lord Krishna, who is the original person, expanded as Balaram. Balaram ji expanded as Narayan. Narayan ji expanded as what we call as the 4 Chatur Vibhas: Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. If you don't remember it, don't worry about it. What is very important to understand is that Lord Ramachandra comes from that Vasudeva. Lakshman ji comes from that Sankarshan. Bharat comes from Aniruddha. And Shatrughan comes from Pradyumna. So this is what the scriptures outline. Now, these personalities are not ordinary personalities. They are called as Vishnu Tattva, which means collectively all these personalities can be called as God. So they are called as Vishnu Tattvas. Now, what happens is, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says a very famous verse. What does he say? Whenever there is a decline of religion, then I come personally, or I send my plenary portions or portions of my plenary portions. For example, we have seen in Christianity, God sent Jesus Christ as a messenger to convey the message of peace and love. So the Lord sometimes comes personally or he sends his messengers. But invariably the Lord says, whenever I come down for three purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, and dharma samsthapanarthaya. Which means I come to protect the saintly people. I come to destroy or annihilate demonic personalities. And more important is, I come to attract people who are pious so that I can take them back with me to the spiritual world at the end of this lifetime. So it is not only just to protect but also to attract. So that is what Lord Krishna has also said in the Bhagavad Gita. Now Lord Ramachandra's advent is also aligned with those principles. There is an eternal aspect of Lord Ramachandra and there is a circumstantial aspect of Lord Ramachandra. What is the eternal aspect of Lord Ramachandra? That Lord Ram is Bhagavan, he is part of Krishna, he is come from Krishna and resident always in the spiritual world in a place called as Ayodhya, which is in the spiritual world. But where are we? We are in the material world. That same Ayodhya has descended down into the material world also. So in one sense it is there in the material world, it is simultaneously there in the spiritual world. So Lord Ramachandra comes to this material world to attract us back to Godhead and to also annihilate the demons, as we previously discussed. There is a big misconception even in India today that Lord Ramachandra was a human being. Lord Ramachandra is not a human being. Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He is Bhagavan. He is not Jiva. Humans means Jiva Tattva. He is not Jiva Tattva. He comes though in the role of a human being. Apparently very vulnerable human being. Just like all of us are very vulnerable. Okay. If someone kidnaps our wife, okay, I don't want to ask that question. How many of you will be sad or happy? I don't want to go into that discussion. Right? But normally, if someone who we love is kidnapped, we all will feel very vulnerable, right? And we will not feel good about it and we will feel very helpless. So when Lord Ramachandra comes down and apparently Sita is kidnapped, Lord Ramachandra also shows this kind of a vulnerability. But we have to understand, somebody may argue, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How come God is not in control? Or how come his wife is taken away by a demon? So therefore we have to clearly understand there is something called as Tattva and something called as Leela. Tattva means spiritual, eternal truths and Leela means pastimes. So Lord Ramachandra comes in the role of a human being. He doesn't become a human being. He comes in the role of a human being to enact a drama. What is his purpose of enacting this drama? He is trying to teach all of us what should be and what is an ideal human being. Maryada Purushottam. That is why Lord Ramachandra descends. But what is his eternal position? His eternal position is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world. Now, a question may be asked, okay, fair enough, Lord Krishna came down here, but how come his wife, how come Lord had to go for 14 years into the forest? In Hindi, we may say, अगर भगवान का ये हाल है, तो मेरा और तेरा क्या होगा? This may be our question. If Lord Ramachandra has to go through these kind of difficulties, what about you and me? So we need to understand why did Lord Ramachandra go through this? Why was this whole pastime enacted? So we have to understand that Manthara, who poisoned Kaikeyi's mind, was not the cause of Lord Ramachandra going to the forest. I know it may surprise some of you. You may say, hang on, I have heard Ramayana all the time. I thought Manthara went and poisoned Kaikeyi, and therefore Kaikeyi said that, told her husband Dasharath that your son has to go to the forest, and therefore Lord Ramachandra, poor Lord Ramachandra, had to go to the forest. See how God himself is not in control. This is what we are used to hearing. But there is a higher truth than that. And Today we will understand what is that higher truth. You remember I told you that Lord Narayan, Vishnu is in the spiritual world some time back. And who is the wife of Vishnu? Everyone knows. If I do like this, everyone knows. Vishnu's wife is who? Lakshmi ji. Now Lakshmi ji is always serving Vishnu's feet. Right? Though we may be serving Lakshmi ji all the time, but Lakshmi is serving who? She is serving Vishnu's feet. So one day, Lakshmi ji tells Narayan, Mahavishnu, that I am always serving you, but sometimes I want to spend some time alone with you. So Vishnu is telling her, what do you mean you want to spend alone? We are in this place, there is nobody to disturb us here. So what do you mean by you want to be alone? She says, no. Ananta Shesh has got millions of eyes and he is always observing us. I want to go to some place where nobody will be there and I want to spend some time with you in solitude. Sometimes all of you wives also ask husbands, no? Thode der maa baap ko jara akele rehte. Can you please manage your parents so we can spend some time at least, half an hour of peace, like that. So similarly, Lakshmi ji also asked her husband Vishnu, and then Vishnu said, okay, tathastu, but not here. It can't happen in the spiritual world. When we come as Ram and Sita down, I will come as Lord Ramachandra, you will come as Sita Devi. That time I will do a rachna in such a way that we can go and spend 14 years first class. Right? In solitude. You want solitude, you will get it. So that is the reason. So we have to always understand that God is never vulnerable. There is always something higher in the scriptures that most of us do not know. Because most of us, our understanding of Ramayana is based on Amar Chitra Katha comic books. Right? None of us has actually given ourselves time to study the scriptures from its roots. But if we do that, then we will understand these higher things. Now, you may say that fair enough. Now, how come this was about Lord Ramchandra, the first personality, right? Number two, you can say, but how come a place like Ayodhya? What is the meaning of Ayodhya? Ayodhya means a place which can never be captured or never be destroyed. Nobody can create any commotion in Ayodhya. That is why it's called Ayodhya. And Dasharath Maharaj, it is said that ruled for 60,000 years. And nobody asked him to take voluntary retirement or anything like that. No package was given to him. 60,000 years he ruled, right? The only time that he had to go out of that rule was when Lord Ramchandra was to be coronated, right? So that was the time. So we may wonder that in such a place like Ayodhya, where even the best of armors, if attacked by the best of armors, artillery, everything, nobody can capture. How come a small rumor of Manthara, spread by Manthara, how come it destroyed? How come it destroyed the unity within the family? That may be a question. It may come to mind. Now that is where we need to understand, as practicing devotees, we are getting a very good lesson here. When Manthara approached Kaikeyi, actually Kaikeyi was very, very affectionate to Lord Ram. She was like a mother to him, right? She was always happy for Lord Ram. Even when Manthara went to poison Kaikeyi, what is the first poisoning she tried to do? She said, do you know that if Ramachandra becomes king, your son Bharat will not become king? She said, so what's the big deal? That's okay. Bharat is always a servant of Ramachandra. I'm okay with it. So why are you telling me this? So she said, this is not working. Let me try another trick. She said, if you don't do anything about it, Bharat's son will become the king and not, Ramachandra's son will become the king and not Bharat's son. So she again said, so what? They are servants. My son will serve Ramachandra's son. So what is the problem? So everything was peaceful. So Manthara could not penetrate. Now what was the vulnerability that Manthara found? That's the third statement she said. What did she say? She said that if Ramachandra's lineage takes over the throne, then you will have to report to Kaushalya. Most of our envy does not happen with juniors. Our envy happens with their peer groups. So that is the basic learning that we get from this pastime. Otherwise, nothing would have happened. So ordinarily, if you see, Kaikeyi was a successful mother. Many of you are bringing your children here to these programs. What is every parent's desire for your children? That they become great, good devotees, is it not? That is why you are putting so much effort. We have left India and come to Australia, and now we are trying to see how can we preserve our culture, how can we preserve devotion, sanskar within our children. So much efforts parents put on perfecting their children. So just imagine, Kaikeyi was already such a perfected parent. She was a perfected mother because her son Bharat was a devotee of Lord Ramachandra. But when she was told this third message that you will become a servant of Kaushalya, she lost her own devotion at that point. Which means, in our focus to make our children devotees, we should not forget Chanakya's principle. What is Chanakya's principle? First learn to fly your own plane. Right? I remember one of my friends once came to me, at office. He told me, "Arey, Jagat, tell me one thing. My children, they are not studying Bhagavad Gita at all. They are not coming to the temple." I said, "Are you coming first? If you don't come, what is the point in telling your children? They'll say, Pitaji, aap jate ho kya?" Right? So unless we do something, we can't tell our children. When we are asked, have you studied Bhagavad Gita? We say no time. But when we are asked whether Chennai Super Kings and Rajasthan Royals match we have seen, then everybody has time for that. Correct? So this is our life. When it comes to studying scriptures, we don't have time. But we expect our children to do that. We never went to IIT, but everyone wants children to go to IIT. Right? So therefore, Kaikeyi's message is what? That we have to perfect our own spiritual life and not remain vulnerable. Then we come to the third personality, Lakshman. What is the meaning of Lakshman? It is mentioned in the scriptures, Lakshmano Lakshmi Sampanno Bahir Prana Iva Paraha. Lakshman means one who is endowed with Lakshmi. Now I know what you are thinking. Lakshman mala admi hai, right? Lakshmi bahut hai uske paas. But we have to understand what is the real wealth of Lakshmi. The real wealth of Lakshmi is continuous service of Lord Vishnu. That is the real wealth. Because after death, we are not going to carry our credit card and bank balance. What we are going to carry is the spiritual credits which we take from this lifetime to the next lifetime. So, now in those days, you will never hear that one prince wants to become the servant of another prince. A prince can become a servant to a king, but a prince will never become servant to another prince because they are peer groups. Peer groups are the most difficult to serve each other. But Lakshmanji never bothered about that. Ramachandra was also prince, Lakshman was also prince. But still, Lakshmanji forgot the fact that he was a prince and he willingly subordinated himself to serve Lord Ramachandra. That is the wealth that he has. The wealth of not being envious of peers, of constantly wanting to serve. Now there is an interesting pastime. When Lord Ramachandra went to the forest, what happened was, Sita and Ram used to sleep on a, kusa grass. They used to sleep on that. Straw. Yeah, they used to sleep on that, right? And Lakshman was always in this mode that I want to protect Ram and Sita. So whole night, Lakshman will take a bow and arrow and he will circumambulate and he will point the arrow closer to Ram and Sita so that anyone comes to disturb them, then he will kill them. Now what happened was, the forest king who was there, Guha, he thought that I am a devotee of Lord Ramachandra. I don't know, has this Lakshman somehow become greedy? He is always pointing his arrow towards Lord Ramachandra. So I must do something about him. I have to monitor this Lakshman. What if he kills Lord Ramachandra and then becomes the king himself, tries to usurp the kingdom? So as Lakshman is walking on the outer circle, inner circle, Guha is walking on the outer circle. And as Guha is walking on the outer circle, pointing his arrow at Lakshman, on the outermost circle, Guha's subjects, his chelas, they are all standing and they are thinking, what has happened to our emperor? He is trying to kill Lakshman so that eventually he will take that position. So they are also doubting, will he kill Lord Ramchandra also? And they are also circumambulating outside. So this is a very interesting pastime. What does it represent? That wherever there is doubt that comes between devotees, if one devotee does not have trust in the service of another devotee, you will always find friction in that atmosphere. So this is another lesson that Ramayana teaches us, that we have to have open communication with each other and understand the reason why some devotee is doing something in the way they want to serve the Lord. The more communication we have, the more we will have a cohesive community. This is a lesson from Lakshman. Service attitude. So Lakshmana represents service attitude. Bharat Maharaj is probably the most difficult. Now he has gone through the most difficulties in the Ramayana. Why? Because it is said Bharat Maharaj's name itself. What is the meaning of Bharata? Bharat Vahi iti Bharata. Bharata means one who has the capacity to carry any load. Now what is the bhar that he was carrying on his head? The load of being disliked by everyone, right? For example, I will give an example to all of you. Nowadays that our Hardik Pandya has joined, what is the team? Mumbai Indians. Everyone is booing him in Wankhede Stadium, correct? Now how that poor fellow must be feeling? Can you imagine? He is saying that, I am serving my country. I have served for so many years, so many cricket matches I have won for my country, and my own people are booing me now, right? So this is how Bharat Maharaj felt, right? What happened to Bharat Maharaj? His own people who he was serving in Ayodhya, they thought that it was Maharaj Bharat who was responsible to send Lord Ramchandra at 14 years to the forest, and they hated him for it. So much they hated him that when he used to go to take bath, people used to throw stones at Bharata. Can you imagine? If some of you are in managerial roles in your office, if you go to your office tomorrow morning and your people are all throwing stones at you, how do you feel? Right? So can you imagine being such a big leader and being hated by your people? That is the bhar he was carrying. Always being misunderstood, right? So he was carrying that. The worst, and none of us want this in our life also. When Dasharath Maharaj left, Dasharath Maharaj told Vashishta Muni, ensure that Bharat does not give Agni to my body. Just imagine if our father tells us that. Ensure that my son, this person, will not give Agni to my body. That's the message he gave. And Vashishta Muni stopped Bharat Maharaj. And finally who had to give? Shatrugna had to light the funeral pyre. When Bharata asked why, he said, your father Dasharath told me that I am so upset with Bharata that he did this to my beloved son Ramachandra because of Bharata's ill intention he had to go. So he was misunderstood by his father also. But still what happened? Despite all this, Bharat Maharaj maintained his sanity, his clarity and purity. All these three things are essential for successful leadership. He kept the slippers of Lord Ramchandra on the throne and continued leading, managing, without ever coming in front of the Praja or not taking any credit for the 14 years for whatever good happened in Ayodhya. So this is called as what? This is the lesson that Bharata gives us. So Bharat Maharaj stands for what? The quality of tolerance. Even in extenuating circumstances, he tolerates everything. His only focus is on how to serve Lord Ramachandra. Shatrugna. Shatrugna means what? Shatrugna means what? Killer of enemies. Now, if somebody is given a name Shatrugna, and if I tell the name, the meaning is killer of enemies, you must be thinking, my goodness, he must be having the largest casualties under his belt, right? So many enemies he has killed. But no, Shatrugna actually killed only one person. Who was the demon? His name was Lavanasura. That's the only demon that Shatrugna ever killed. Now the question is, if he has killed only one demon, why is he called as Shatrugna? Because what is the greatest enemy for anyone? Our own false ego. That is the biggest enemy which drives us to sin in our life. So Shatrughna had conquered his false ego, and that's why he is called as Shatrughna. In fact, Lakshman and Bharat, they served Lord Ramachandra directly. In our office, what is our mentality? Everyone wants to serve the CEO only, directly, or the vice president. No one wants to serve the servant of the servant. But Shatrughna never tried to say that I want to serve Lord Ramachandra directly. Rather, he was very content in serving Lakshman and Bharat, who in turn were serving Lord Ramachandra. And he maintained this service to Bharat even when Bharat was being ostracized in Ayodhya. He never wavered. He kept full faith in Bharat Maharaj and he kept serving him. So Shatrughna represents the quality of humility. Humility, which makes us remain in the position of servant of servant of servant. Sita Devi. Sita Devi is who? Who is Sita Devi? Sita Devi is none other than the internal potency, the pleasure potency of Bhagavan. Now, in this pastime, in this Leela, in the spiritual world, yes, as per Tattva, she is the pleasure potency. Now, what does Sita Devi represent here? He came here and what happened? Was she always with Lord Ramachandra? True or false? Yes, she was. Till that time, what was the time that she got separated from Lord Ramachandra? Who knows? When did she get separated from Lord Ramachandra? When she got attracted to a deer, right? So, in this pastime, Sita Devi represents you and I, the spirit soul, the Jiva. She lost control over her mind for a moment, right? A moment of weakness. So, when the soul, which is ordinarily serving the Lord, takes its eyes off bhakti and tries to get attracted and gets attracted even momentarily to the allurements of this material world, what happens? Immediately the soul is sucked into material life. Krishna bhuli jiva bhoga vancha kare, nishtare maya tare jhapadiya dhare. The moment we take our eyes off our identity as servant of Krishna and we try to establish any other identity outside of that, or we try to enjoy the material world, what will happen? Material world gives us a slap, saying that this is not the purpose of your human form of life. So Sita Devi represents all of us in this Leela. She is not an ordinary human being. She is Lakshmi Devi herself. But in this drama, she is enacting our role. Hanumanji finally. Who is Hanumanji? Now, Sita's relationship with Ramachandra, her connection with Lord Ramachandra has been broken. Ravana has kidnapped her. So she is away from Bhagavan. So what does Hanumanji do? Hanumanji takes up the role of re-establishing the broken connection of all of us, Sita Devis, in this pastime with Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna. And how does Hanumanji do? Hanumanji does it by conveying the message of Lord Ramachandra as it is, without putting his own speculation into it. What is such a person called as? Guru. Guru is one who gives you the message of Lord Krishna as it is. That is why Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, who is our founder Acharya of ISKCON, he named his Bhagavad Gita book as Bhagavad Gita as it is, which means I have not put anything from my pocket. Whatever I have written is exactly what Krishna told Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The only purpose of Srila Prabhupada was to unite all of us with and re-establish our broken connection with Bhagavan. So Hanumanji represents this Guru Tattva. And in doing this, Guru does not care for his personal well-being, popularity or safety. So Hanuman never cared for his safety. His only agenda was that I want to go and unite Sita with Lord Ramachandra. Yes, but Hanuman was also supported by who? By the Vanaras. What is the meaning of Vanara? When we think of Vanar, we immediately think of monkey. But no, monkey means Bandar, not Vanar. Okay. The original word Vanara represents a person who could be an animal, could be in the form of an animal, but such people are divine personalities. So Vanar means what? A divine personality who can be in the form of a human being or an animal. So the entire Vanar Sena, who do they represent? Because without their support also, Hanumanji could not have done. They could not have crossed the bridge, right? So they are called as the Shiksha Gurus in our life. And Hanumanji represents the senior Guru. Shiksha Gurus are people who help us day to day in our spiritual life, in whatever small ways. They may be our counselors, they may be our Buddhi-Vriksha cell servants, they may take different roles. They may be your best friend who is a devotee, who is trying to get you into, give you some prasadam, trying to help you get over bad habits that will sever our connection with the Lord. So this is what the Vanaras represent. So together Guru and Vanara, they serve us in taking us back to Godhead. I don't know whether I am overbooked. I believe I have done it in 30 minutes. Okay, Prabhuji? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So hopefully we will all learn these lessons and take home something. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are going to start Aarti. So everyone should stand up, Prabhuji, for that.